Kostas Kazantzis. I'm the lead creative technologist at FIA. And we are a team that is based at London College of Fashion with a remit of exploring any emerging technology and its impact within fashion and retail. We've been working together on a 3-month research project around digital avatars with modeling agency The Bureau. The collaboration is based on kind of evaluating different pipelines of optimizing digital avatar creation techniques. So we wanted to conduct research on how brands and agencies can actually digitize their models at a high level of accuracy. For those models to be able to, work in different types of scenarios like CGI campaigns, showcasing environments within real-time engines, etc. So together with our amazing associate Luke, we've been exploring pipelines like 3D scanning, retopology, texture baking. And I'm really proud and happy to say that through the amazing work that Luke has been doing, we were able to achieve an accuracy for our digital human models that was around 0.5% of the real measurement. So that was really, really important and fascinating for us, just because when it comes to fashion and modeling, we need to find ways to represent those bodies accurately to be then able to be incorporated into different fitting scenarios. The next step of the project was actually to prepare those assets for animation, but also to incorporate them within different CAD and digital design software. We evaluated pipelines for Close Style 3D and Optitex. And the way that we did that is by creating a rig that would be kind of software agnostic and compatible with all of those software, just because the Bureau's clients work with different types of tools. And the main idea and the vision behind the project was to actually create a file type that is addressable to all of those different kinds of brands. And the final step of the project is focusing a lot on the showcasing side of things. So how can we import those assets that we captured and created into real-time engines like Unreal Engine 5 and kind of, generate and conduct research on how we can create future fashion showcasing scenarios. So we did an amazing showroom environment, but also I'm really happy to say that we were able to partner with 2 drag icons with Hungry and Black Pepper to incorporate the work within 3D engines and also make a reflection on how we can represent diverse talent.
We saw 3D being such a big part of the future, but there were so many different kind of routes to take. Lots of brands didn't really know how to adopt 3D in a way that's actually going to be beneficial to them. And also there was the kind of the high costs involved and the time that we take to kind of get the avatars, the models turned into avatars and then integrated into the 3D systems that we've been testing and trialing with was almost too much for brands to even consider with their kind of daily kind of workflow. So for us, just seeing the process that kind of Luke has explored, the efficiencies in terms of cost and timing, we think that it's going to open it up to a lot more brands and there's going to be less of a barrier of entry for those to really adopt 3D and have a positive impact on their whole workflow in the supply chain.
I think just to follow on from that, obviously we've been really keenly kind of looking at the benefits that this can have from the brand side and the fashion industry side, but also for us it's such a new and untouched kind of space, especially as you say for models and agencies within that area, that for us we also wanted to kind of explore how can we protect models being used in this space in a way that mirrors the level of protection that they have with being represented in the physical space. So obviously, one of our kind of key things that we were wanting to overcome was like licenses and usage and ownership of models' own personal data and how it's all stored securely. So these kind of areas are really, really key things that need to be addressed, and that it's at very, very early stages of being addressed sort of industry-wide. So for us to be kind of leading the way with looking at how all of those potential problems can be solved before they happen has been a really important part of the journey. And it's something that, as Johnny said, it's definitely, this whole process has definitely reinforced what we already knew, but because the space is changing so rapidly and the new technologies are coming out, new applications for technologies are coming out, we need to constantly be reevaluating and adapting what we are putting together to make sure that it always stays appropriate for the live kind of use cases that the industry is going to have for 3D models now and in the future.
As somebody who has, freelanced and also now had experience with a photogrammetry rig that is literally just like 5 floors up, it makes a huge difference in terms of what you're able to achieve and what you're able to think of for the project. I don't think our outcome would look anything like what we have now if we didn't have that access to that rig. Not only because it's just like it's easy, but also in terms of cost and like accessing studios, they can get booked up really quickly. And I did a photogrammetry project a while ago where I was trying to get quotes for a rig for 1 hour or something, and it cost £500 for half an hour, and then another £500 per model processing fee. So just to kind of put a little bit of like, just to almost like scale that against our project, it's like we did 13 poses per model, and we did 8 models for our digital showroom. If we were to try and like work out how much that would cost, it would be in the tens of thousands. Whereas this rig was upstairs. We did 13 poses within, I think it was like an hour and a half for 4 models, and then did that over 2 shoots. And it's just like, it meant there was so much more we could do in terms of experimenting, in terms of looking at the workflows and looking at poses and how we can transition between stuff. I think it fully gave us full scope with this project to kind of just keep experimenting, keep adding things on top and seeing what's next. Without this photogrammetry rig, I can't imagine we would have been able to do it to the same scale, the same quality.
Yeah, if I can also just add on that, I completely agree with everything. I think it is an absolutely essential asset, I think, to both the fashion and the technology industries, because there are so many barriers, mostly financial barriers, because it's obviously hugely costly, the equipment, the scale, the spaces that need to be hired to host the equipment. Like, there's just so many reasons to not be able to do this for research purposes. And without the space at LCF and all the team who were involved in scheduling the appointments, processing, doing the captures with us, having that access is incredible, because only by doing projects like this will things actually change long term within the industry. And if there's constant barriers, then it's just never going to be something that properly gets researched or built on, or and ultimately implemented long term into the industry. So I think the ripple effect of projects like this, it will be so widespread, but it can't, it won't have happened without access to the facility. So yeah, the idea of having a kind of hub where brands and businesses like ourselves can come and use the technologies and actually inform research that will end up going back out there into the industry is incredible, because we just wouldn't have been able to do it without it. So yeah, it's been amazing.
The idea of representing yourself in a digital space, these drag queens jumped onto and were very keen to be part of this project, because I know Pepper and definitely Hungry have so many ideas about what they want to do next with their aesthetic and what the next thing is going to be. And they've been able to do a lot of incredible photo shoots, but then you offer them this space to be like, just tell me your wildest dreams and we can go make it in a week or 2. And then they've got everything, like this kind of the next frontier of what fashion will look like, just available to them.
What I love about exactly that is that it's such a collaborative moment between everybody that's involved. Whereas if you were doing this in reality, as kind of already mentioned, there would be so many barriers to that level of creativity, and exactly like your wildest dream being represented in reality probably would have a few little things that budgets and viability of actually getting this done in reality is kind of put a little bit of a halt on. But here you can literally, you are limitless with how you want your brand to be represented, how you want yourself to be represented. So I think what's really nice is that not only have we been able to show the industry kind of the real functional benefits of working in this 3D space with photogrammetry, but then also the potential creative concepts that can be utilized as well. And I just think the level of collaboration that it opens up is probably more than it might be if it was a real creative campaign. And there's just all ideas are on the table, which I think is great. You don't have to discount things because of whether they're actually possible or not, because it is possible. So I love that.
And I think there is something really important about this just opening up the world to these creative type people. And especially with, I mean, that's why I gravitate towards drag queens, because you really open it up to these incredibly creative aesthetics that almost can't be matched in reality. So then when you have these spaces, yeah, it's like suddenly you kind of like a fait accompli, everything comes together.